Hi, everybody. It's Michael Andre Ford. Here we go. Hi, everybody. It's Michael Andre Ford, Facebook live stream. I'm your angel intuitive in San Antonio, Texas, USA. But as I like to remind everybody, I do a lot for you. I help you get to your heart out of thinking, and then you have an experience. You get to get any answers to any questions, meet angels, hear their full on personality, and get any of your life, career, health, business, relationship questions answered. You use pen and paper at first, but and there are photographs. I got very lucky with the camera 6 years ago. I've taken a lot of photographs. I've probably backed off from that the last few years, but the photographs, just a few photographs of angels, makes for a great excuse. You put your eyes on the photo to let go, silently ask your question, and here you get a response. The more you do it, the more you ease up on yourself, the more you're out of your thinking, you're judging, you're reacting, and actually here to hear the answer, write down the answer, and so on. You get hugs as well. This is a lot to take in, but this is no different than when you go for a walk and you really are enjoying the walk. You've been able to let go whatever version of reality that you have to deal with 24/7. You go for a walk, you let go, you kind of commune with nature. It's like sports, cooking, yoga, sitting still, meditation. Anytime you go through a different level of awareness or consciousness, sports is such a great metaphor. So this really does exist. If I had to say one thing, you're not alone. If you never talk to angels, you're fine. You're living a good life as it is. Everyone's living a good life. 7 billion people. Imagine 7 billion separate people with completely different value systems, completely different silos of thinking and what they think's good and bad and everything else. Sure, there's proper understanding, and sure, cause less harm. But when you think about the total big picture, it's staggering. Everyone should do what they're doing. They spend their energy that way. Where you put your focus is where you put your focus. That's the biggest thing I've learned in 8 years of helping 2,000 plus people with some amazing backgrounds. This just involves getting out of thinking and realizing that thinking's going on. That's 80-90% of everyone's day. And that can be the big first step. Think of Christmas Carol and Scrooge. Good old Scrooge at the beginning. It's easy to label the guy as the worst person in the world. He was stuck, focused on money, dental floss. That's how I describe his life flow or his life force. Not a lot going on there. Easy to jump on the bandwagon and say we don't like Scrooge. And everyone forgets in a 79-page little book that by the end of the story, he's the nicest, most joy-giving guy, probably, and I'm assuming it was London, there is. So in a way, we're all Ebenezer Scrooge moment to moment. We're shut off, shut tight like an oyster, to quote that Luc Besson French film Angela, or Angel-A. Black and white, maybe a 2010 film, beautiful, fun, got some gangsters in there and so on, but it's got a kick-ass, excuse the language, guardian angel, and what a great movie. So look, moment to moment, you do the best you can. That's it. So if we quote Don Miguel Ruiz, try to make less assumptions, a little less thinking, be in the moment, do the best you can, don't take anything personally. That goes a long way for some advice. And let's see, I just got from Gail Justice, I can always use some inspiration from angels each day. So back to angels. You don't have to talk to angels. You don't have to get a hug. You don't have to see full on with or without wings. You don't have to see a little ball of light to take a baby step. You can just trust that they're there. You're not alone. I've just spent the last 8 years, I was from New York City, 20 years, corporate America, started off on Wall Street, public relations for 18 years. I think I'm pretty good at that. But I picked up a gift, and that gift is helping anyone get out of their version of reality, which is 100% A-OK. But if you look at each person's reality, it changes over time. You move from a city and it was that NFL team or that soccer team, you move to a new city. Some people do change teams. Every bit of thinking you've done, except maybe politics, changes over time. And yet, while you have that thought, while you're living your life, it seems perfectly real to you. The thing is, we tend to get stuck with a lot of thinking. We tend to get into ruts. Life is ebb and flow, but sometimes we feel it's a lot less flow and a lot more ebb. We want change. We want change, but we forget how change works. You actually have to get out of your own way, out of thinking, out of that story, my problem is, into openness itself, where you're allowing the universe to do its job. Like the alchemist, the whole universe conspires to bring you what you want. Where you put your focus, where you're putting your thinking. If you're always walking around saying, oh, woe is me, and here's my problem. I've got this illness. Illness just doesn't happen generally in a vacuum. I'm not going to go there too much, but a lot of thinking happens to all of us. We do this thinking consciously, unconsciously. We judge people, we judge others, we judge situations, especially the world. We think the world needs to be this way, that way. We forget to take a breath, and we forget that our own presence is what matters most for our own personal happiness. And if we're personally happy, trust me, everybody else around you, complete strangers 100 feet away, they'll pick up on your vibe, your presence, and start smiling and waving to you before you can wave to them. And it's this concept of being kind and loving to yourself and compassionate to yourself that gives you the big break that helps level the landscape. So if you want change, ease off on the pedal of thinking, the accelerated thinking. We all do it. 80-90% of our days is filled with thinking. We don't even realize it. It's Plato's cave, that metaphor or analogy. The only way I'd describe it is you're like in a room out a window, and we're looking out that window, and we think that whatever we see out that window is absolutely how it is. We forget that there's a door behind us, and the door is wide open. No one's holding you prisoner. There's no one way to have to be. It's the act of realizing there's a difference between all the thinking going on up here and the awareness, the compassion, the love, the infinite possibility, life itself, living life. Scrooge at the end of the story here, that's the big thing. And I would say that like A New Earth is a fantastic book. Eckhart Tolle's presence itself, forget all his words, is incredible. If you can do an audio CD of him, get him whiskey, a cigar, he could do stand-up. This book is like a lightning bolt. Boy, if you're having trouble sleeping at night though, get this book as well. 2 paragraphs. Your ego side, your thinking, will not want to read anymore and will give up. It will let you sleep perfectly well. 2 paragraphs, you're out like a light. So if you're having trouble sleeping, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, grab your copy. It is a little bit of a complex book, but it shoots straight. It could be labeled a little harsh. It definitely indicts mankind and all its thinking and all its harm it's caused. But if you can get through the book, it's definitely a ignition for letting go a little more of the thinking and starting to embrace your own personal, unique life journey. I would suggest another book after that, Gary Zukav. He wrote this a long time ago. This is an ex-Green Beret, had some difficulties personally, and then I think went back into science, physics, stuff like that. Both of these authors have been on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah quite a bit, but his is probably channeled a little more upbeat, a little more trying to lay out how the structure of everything is. It's very interesting. It's a great way to spend some time. Now, my absolutely favorite book, or one of my favorite books, I love the Karl Hammerschlag book, Dancing Healers. It's got some serious case studies in it. He's a doctor out of Yale, becomes a psychologist later on, learns a lot at a Native American reservation, and ends up teaching everything he knows to others. He's a little bit like Patch Adams. He's a lot of fun. But Dan Millman, the gymnast from the 60s, his movie is made in 2006. It was just called Peaceful Warrior instead of Way of the Peaceful Warrior. His movie is called Peaceful Warrior with Nick Nolte, Amy Smart, Scott Meklowitz. Gymnastics story. Very little organization. Very little that's too heavy. A lot of Zen in there, and there's a Socrates, a gas station attendant. I've helped people meet that gas station attendant. Dan, if you're watching, I'm sorry to say this out loud, but hey, I've got 120 plus angels people meet directly. This angel, who is Socrates, has been around the block, not just for Dan's lifetime, but popping in and doing other stuff. All angels are fantastic. You only need one angel. And back to the theme where I was at before, you don't need any angels. Just trust that they're there. Talk to them one way. What do you think you're doing half the time when you talk to the thin air? And what do you think half your intuition is when you're going through your day, your week, your month, when it's the good intuition? Not beating yourself up, not beating up others, which is a total waste of energy to judge others. It doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. Choose where you put yourself. Own your authentic power. You have more control, more ability to love yourself, more ability to love others, more ability to let go of details than you could ever realize when you're here. Thinking has everyone locked up. Me, you, every single person. All the woo-woo, the spiritual, the self-help, business experts. We still all do a lot of thinking. Anybody telling you they're enlightened, ask an angel about that person. They're probably a little too serious. So thinking happens, and to quote an angel named Dale, who coached Nadia Comaneci, not to beat other people, but to follow her unique life path, another gymnast. Don't know what's up with these gymnasts. To quote an angel named Dale, and this is the epilogue of my book, if you go to michaelandreford.com, that's just Michael, Andre like the champagne, Ford like the car, michaelandreford.com, you can find the links to Amazon, my Amazon author profile. It's just www.amazon.com/author/angels. But that Listening to Angels book is $4.99. If you think I wrote it, thank you very much. I did do the typing. I'm seeing balls of light as I was writing. It's gentle, gentle, gentle. There's reviews at that website. I have 50 plus testimonials. People see angels. They can do it as a group. You have to own it individually first, but a person needs to be willing not just to put themselves out there and be vulnerable, what Pema Chodron talks about with that whole letting go and risking the perceived self-destruction. Destruction of what? Your ego, your thinking, the details, how you tell your story in life. It's really just being in the now. Back to The Power of Now, his other book. It's really letting go to not be judging, to be open. And when you do that, lots of stuff happens. If you're going for a run, it's one of your best runs ever. You're at one with the running shoes, the pavement, you're breathing, you're looking around and you're like, oh, a bird, that's beautiful. I'm going to do another lap. When you went to go do 3 miles, you end up doing 7. So when you let go, you have a lot of fun. And that's family time. It's spending time with loved ones. It's playing a board game. It's reading a book. You only were going to sit down for 5 pages and you ended up reading half the book. You lost yourself in the book. It's harmony itself. So what I was going to say is you have more ability than you realize. You also have more thinking than you realize. And that's the crux. Can you recognize there's a difference between thinking and the heart? And that's where the journey begins. To quote that angel named Dale and the epilogue of that little 50-page book, and it's for free. If you want the epilogue, go about 7 posts down and you're going to find it recreated. It's a page and a half, 2 pages. He starts off putting life into a metaphor of an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree. And the undergraduate degree you have to have first, obviously, before the graduate degree, but he describes the undergraduate degree as recognizing there's a difference between thinking and awareness. Now, there's 1,000 ways to describe both. It would be conditional love, unconditional love, judging, reacting, knowing, letting go of knowing. We call that faith, religious, non-religious, just taking a little leap of faith. It only needs to be 1 millimeter. Every religion, every organization, every woo-woo-woo expert, every spiritual expert, every self-help business expert has a stake in labeling these spots. They're all pointing the same direction. Openness here. And the act of just being in the now is openness itself. My whole argument is, and this is what I do, I slice right through a person's reality long enough that they can stay open long enough to just simply listen. When you're doing true listening, you can't be thinking about the grocery list or what you're going to do tomorrow. You're just listening. So, yeah, it's a little scary to put yourself out there. Yes, the concept of angels is mind-boggling. I spent 2 years trying to grasp angels. I got this far, and my conclusion is they exist. So trust that they exist. Your answers are going to come. If you don't want to talk to angels, you feel it's too religious or anything else, that's fine. If you've got problems with other figures, you're not into Buddha, you're not into this person, not into that person, they're all unconditional love. They're all on the other side. They're all reconciled. No matter what you think their history was here on earth, these are true unconditional love, compassionate figures. It's 150 plus figures, maybe 120 plus angels, more than that. You meet your guardian angel, you meet your life stage angel, you can meet your business angel, you can meet your kid's guardian angel, you can meet your pet's guardian angel. And yes, you can talk to your pets. They're like 3rd graders. Somebody asked a question about dogs. Dogs are like 3rd graders. You can hear your dog back and forth, mommy, mommy, I love you. You can see your passed over pet. You can talk to your dog. I have 2 dogs over there lying on the ground. You can hear a hummingbird. You can hear a tree. Listening is really just being in harmony with the whole universe and letting the universe do its job. I know that's a big leap of faith. It's a big one, but I didn't get 15,000 photos of angels for no reason. I don't have 50 plus testimonials from some decently big names. Chip Conley, Airbnb exec, hotelier, TED Talk 2010, I think, person, and founder of a great sort of wisdom group. You can look him up online. There's the Eckhart Tolle Milton Secret film, School Bullying, Donald Sutherland, Mia Kirshner, Canadian, I think, production. The director for that was Barnet Bain. He teaches at Kripalu, Omega, Columbia, bunch of places, 1440 probably. He's been around. What a fun guy he is. Big shout out to him if you ever are watching the video, but he's done the service. Former Miss USA, Terry Britt in Atlanta, who's fantastic, has tons and tons of video and content for you at her website. Dawa Tarchin Phillips in Santa Barbara, Tibetan lineage, Buddhism, great fellow there. Jonathan Erleby in Denver, big shout out to him. He's been very supportive over the last year. Lots of other folks. You can find all those testimonials online at www.michaelandreford.com. If you're listening and you have questions, send them in. Shoot them along. I'll try to get to them. I got one question from Spain. How do angels lower their vibration enough to meet human consciousness? How to answer that? Like, I'm the expert. I just help you meet the angels and listen. I think angels are super big. Unconditional love beings beyond human thinking and grasping. I would say they can do anything. They can show up in human form looking like your cousin or somebody on the street. You can run into them for a few minutes, no words, lots of words. Maybe when you meet them, you just think they're a sparkly individual who, in the moment, changes everything for you. Just a couple kind words or a wave or holds the door open for you going into a coffee shop. My guess is they have to slow down a little, lower their vibe just a touch. No big deal. I think our, whatever you call planet Earth, where we're at, is one way. I think they're much broader. I think they need to do a little bit of adjusting. I did ask one angel who I saw at a Starbucks if she was actually drinking the cup of coffee she had in her hand. That was an angel named Charlotte, who's one of my business managers, one of my top 5 or 6 angels, knows a lot about Egypt. She answered yes, she was drinking coffee here. So I think there's some house rules sort of on the earth plane, if nobody minds me using that language. Yes, they can taste, feel, sense, stuff like that. They sort of beam in is the best way I can describe it. Meanwhile, back to angels. Unconditional love, here to help, can alter your path. I think that's a really important statement to make. Everyone is somewhere in life. If you're rocking along, you're probably not listening to this, probably not needing any extra help, but I would offer the concept. If you've got a business or you've got some sort of project or venture and you could use some assistance, why not tap a couple angels and ask for help? They're much broader in perspective than even the best experts on good old planet Earth. They're here to help. Setting your intent is the number one and only sort of rule. And I always help people with sort of a Boy Scout, Girl Scout pledge. It's basically, hey, angels, help me get out of my head, be in my heart, make this nice, and you own it all the way. You're that inner, fearless, peaceful warrior that you already are in all those moments where you're having fun, letting go, no try, and just doing your thing. So life can get complicated. Let's talk about this. People feel stuck. It could be financially. That's one of the big ones. It could be health. It could be relationships. It could be experiencing the same sort of level of experience when you want more. It's okay to want more, but it's also important to recognize sort of the rules of the road. I love Abraham Hicks. I love that Abraham unconditional group of beings and their advice, because sort of what you put out is what you get. If you're running around judging the world, you think everything needs to be fixed, you're complaining about how it is, you might be missing the big picture. I'm not saying if you own a factory, you should put up 10 more smokestacks that are going to pollute the planet. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that where you put yourself, are you putting yourself in love, heart, compassion, expanded presence, expanded awareness, expanded consciousness, Peacefulness. Peace in every step. Thich Nhat Hanh, the little book on the shelf behind me. Are you putting yourself there, or are you actually throwing out energy that's not love? When you judge others and you slap labels on them, it's the energy you're actually you're not helping the person that you're judging change. You can wish them well instead. The energy you are sending out is actually the energy you're creating for yourself. Those thoughts that we don't even think about, we don't even realize happen, are what accumulate over time and are the atmosphere we are swimming around in. So you wonder how big illnesses can happen that can be very life-changing. It's a huge reset. It's a chance to allow how you roll, how it all changes. It's a chance to slow down, essentially. And so what I'm trying to get at is most folks don't recognize how they are spending their energy. If you could see your energy and it was red for harm and blue for love, let's say, blue with little hearts coming off of it, you would be shocked to not see blue energy and little hearts flying off of you in your love for 2/3 of the day. We are constantly, with TV, we're reacting to everything. I react to CNN or Fox or whoever. There's some statement on TV and I'm like, oh my God, the news isn't doing their job anymore, blah, blah, blah. It's not helpful. So when you react, generally speaking, it's not good for you. It's not good for the atmosphere you're creating for yourself. So a little more peace, a little more harmony, having those rituals first thing in the morning, fantastic. Fantastic to take a break, fantastic to find ways through art, music, incense, meditation, mindfulness, eating slow, eating well, exercise, hanging out with people that it's 1 + 1 = 11. People who add to your role. This is all helpful. But where I would constantly do a small reminder, and that is the mind, the ego, wants to seize on the greatest thing and kind of hijack it too. So if you've had the same structure for 2 years in a row in the morning, it's good to shake it up. It's good to not at times have any rules. If you only drink water, it's okay once a year to have a Coca-Cola. Not going to kill you. Try to avoid the ego trap of whatever the activity is. You almost end up identifying too much with roles, too much with organizations, and so on. So what I love about the service is this is the most you're ever going to hear me talk. I help you with some dad jokes, let go, see auras, see energy, see consciousness itself, rainbow light, white light, yellow, green, purple, 16 colors at once, golden strands off your fingers. If you're really lucky, later at the end of a session, you can have an angel, Joy, Charlotte, Minwala. Somebody makes a little butterfly in between your fingers. And if you're really, really like letting go, this is going to be a little out of the Matrix, a sci-fi movie, or just a fluffy, happy Disney film. You can have angels or a fairy and angels, or even Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Mother Teresa, whoever, Buddha, Sai Baba. They can all contribute. You can see fireworks across the sky in your backyard, in your living room. You can see little butterflies. You can see glitter. Glitter's probably easier for most people. It's smaller. You'll allow for it. The mind itself, and I'm going to quote Joseph Campbell and probably Dan Millman, his Socrates figure, the gas station attendant. It's just a secondary organ. We place a lot of importance on it. We think that the intellect is how you should live your life. And that's how society and Western society rolls. You know, it's the paycheck, it's where you work, it's what are you achieving, and so on. But getting lost in your achievements, getting caught up in your failures, getting caught up in what you're lacking is exactly the ego trap. Your ego just wants you to know exactly where you are, and you're in a constantly moving atmosphere. The world's spinning. Everything is changing every second, and the only way we know how to relate is through our ego, generally speaking. It likes to slap labels on everyone and everything, and it makes us feel secure. Security over the bigger universal reality, which is actually love and compassion. So the sooner you recognize the difference between here and here, the more you can have more fun and enjoy it all. Okay, so back to a couple books that can help you with that. I think Way of the Peaceful Warrior is one of the gentlest, least intrusive books. Sorry, that's Dan Millman. Fantastic fellow who's probably taught millions by now. Hasn't been on Oprah, I think, but it doesn't matter. He's achieved a lot, done a lot. He's got a whole series of books. I think he doesn't have think he even has a continuation of this. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, he came out with another book. He probably has like 10 books out there. You can find him online. Very well spoken. And again, story of a gymnast who, it's him back in school, knows a lot, has the girls, the grades, the stature, top-notch gymnast. He goes on to do a world record move on the rings, goes on to win the NCAAs for his team, goes on to the Olympics. But he knows he's not happy. He's having a recurring nightmare. And he says goodbye to the flavor of the week one 3 a.m. moment and goes on a midnight or 3 a.m. jog. Berkeley, I think it was 1968. Forgive me, Dan. But he ends up at a gas station. He's already opening the chips and the soda in the movie, and he's chomping on it before he's paid for it. But he's having a recurring nightmare, and he knows he's not happy. And in that nightmare, he sees a pair of mismatched, miscolored boots. And the gas station attendant right in front of him is wearing those boots. So he makes a little comment about, hey, did you know your boots don't match? And I think the gas station attendant says something like, one's just a little older than the other, or newer than the other. And it took me a long time. I've watched that movie a lot, and I'm always shocked by this movie. It's same thing with the book. Every time you read the book or watch the movie, something new jumps out at you. I think it's like a Disney film. I think it's like an adult Karate Kid. The whole family can enjoy it. It's such an easy vehicle to show you how to get out of here, to be here, and realize that there's never not anything going on. That's one of the big messages, that when you're here, everything happens from the heart. All the important stuff. It's love. It's compassion. It's being in the moment. It's striving to live your unique life path. It's taking chances. So it's a wonderful movie, wonderful book. Way to go. Eckhart Tolle, again, A New Earth. It's big. It's tough. It's quite the read. It's, sold millions of copies. Same guy who did Power of Now. I say also get the audio versions. Listening to his voice is the equivalent of meditation. Put it in your car if you've got a lot of traffic, if you're still driving around these days. Listening to him stuck in any amount of traffic makes it worthwhile. A lot of fun. Okay. I got another question. Do angels help everyone? I would switch that around. If a person's asking for help, they receive. They need to be in their heart. Sometimes if they're just asking for the help, how do I do this? The answer is yes, it depends on the situation. And I'll leave it at that. Does everyone get help from angels? If a person's closed off in their negativity, it's unlikely they're going to be asking angels for help. So angels are just here to give unconditional love. It's there. It's a constant. There's going to be like those scientists, even folks on the Watkins 100 list, the spiritual list each year, who are trying to measure or seek to capture data about angels. That's not really the point of the exercise. Angels aren't here to prove or disprove their existence. They're here to help. It's take it or leave it. Always available, but there's people who, know better, know that angels exist, but don't want the help. That's fine. You get to live your life your way, and that's fantastic. I personally wouldn't want to interfere. So toss everything I've said so far to date. I wouldn't want to interfere in anybody else's life, tell them how to live. I'd say you live a fine life. I'm going to quote Joseph Campbell. You live a good life, you live a fine life, do it. But there's more. There's a lot more. I went through 20 years in New York City without realizing that all the Oprah, woo-woo-woo, spiritual, self-help stuff, that there was something to it. Oprah was just my Baltimore newscaster, I think channel 11 or 13 when I was a kid in the 1970s. She was a lot thinner then. I think she was a news broadcaster. I never knew she was going to be doing self-help stuff later and helping so many people with her show and everything else. Plato. He's one of the figures you can meet. It's 55 plus angels. It's Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, a bunch of other archangels. I have photos of them. I got lucky with the camera. The photos will move and change color. So if you look at a photo of a ball of light that's an angel, it could change color, it could move, but it could be a historical photo too. Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo, 3 Native American chiefs that have been with me since I was a kid. You look at a photo, a historical photo shouldn't be able to move. They can wink, smile, shrug, move their hands. Audrey Hepburn's photo, she's an angel. She's been passed over for 25 years. She's available. It's constantly experiences that would boggle the mind if we were all sitting down trying to analyze this stuff. It's all mini miracles. When you ask for a hug, there's 10,000 ways to feel a hug. You get a little ping of energy, a goosebump here, a goosebump there. Um, it's really getting to hear, allowing, asking, and receiving. What will you allow for? And again, it goes back to the alchemist, Paulo Coelho. The whole universe conspires to bring you what you want. But when you're asking, are you coming from a place of negativity? My problem is, I have a lack. Or are you coming from a place of like, hey, let's do it? So I don't care how dire your situation is. It's important to get out of what you think you know for your situation. Oh, I can't find a job. I can't find a job. I can't find a job. We've all been there. And getting into a more positive spot, the heart, who is ready for change, who wants that fantastic job to come their way. It's incredible how synchronicity works. And it's incredible how angels are behind the scenes helping when you'll allow for that help, when you ask. And it's incredible how things work. When you look back in your life, there's a lot of instances where you know there's been some sort of crazy synchronicity going on. Just how you got that job, how you met that person, what happened to Frank, your cousin. Endless examples of that. And as we get to be adults and as we have all these obligations and kids and illnesses and seriousness with work and career and how serious we take ourselves, I think the seriousness that an adult can have is where sort of self-importance rears its ugly head. The less you have to take so seriously. That's where good humor comes in, letting go, laughing, gardening, cooking, taking care of yourself, fruits, vegetables, a hot shower, massage, meditation. Treat yourself in some new direction. Let go of what you know. I always like to say too much structure means no sunshine. You're stuck inside. Sort of a pun on words there. There's plenty of people running around who are spiritual. There's tons of seekers. I love business people, to be honest. They're faster at the uptake or intake. They just are like, hey, let's do it. Half of them have a personal situation. Their son, their wife, their cousin, their own illness, whatever. You find out when you meet them. But business people are ready to go. They're action. They know how to ask a question. They know how to operate a pen. They know how to write down their answers on a piece of paper. And they know how to ask for a hug and keep going. It's, hey, I did it. I got my answer. I got my hug. What's next? People like that, I just start serving dish after dish after dish. If we're at a restaurant and I'm somehow the chef. Except I'm not really the chef. It's the angels doing the work. They're doing the answering. They know your situation. There's no judging. You're not getting labeled. They're here to help. They've seen it all by now. I feel like I've seen it all. 2,000 plus people is a lot of thinking, a lot of situations. And there's some classic forms of ego that are just, if you want to call ego control, it's control. Blocking your access to life, cutting you off from love. It's very convenient to be able to judge thousands of other people and say the world needs to change. We got to do this. Everyone has to behave this way. It's all an excuse not to be in your heart and to experience more compassion and love. If you're a huge presence of love, I don't know, Dalai Lama, Pope, Thich Nhat Hanh, pick somebody. Pick a happy person who just feels good to be around. A gracious smile. They don't have to speak even. They walk into a room, you feel better. That is, you can control what's 3 feet around you. I'm going to quote, I think it's Elizabeth Gilbert's movie, Eat, Pray, Love. That actor who told Julia Roberts, you can control, what your mind's putting its focus on, your thoughts, and what you wear each day. I love that statement. Elizabeth Gilbert made another statement, I think, about swallowing the sun, how big this all is. Well, I'm going to say about this, yes, it's really big. And if you want to analyze it all, it's huge. But at the end of the day, the most you're really sacrificing is a little bit of your thinking. I'm going to get back to that epilogue that I keep referring to by Dale, the angel who coached Nade Comaneci, who that, again, there's an epilogue down below that's free. Page and a half, 2 pages. The book is very short, $4.99 on Amazon.com. He talks about just less thinking a day is the Olympic gold medal. It's unrealistic for anybody to go egoless. So any expert running around who's, published by Sounds True or something saying they're enlightened, I would just wish them well. But I think 10% less thinking is the Olympic gold standard. And what's that work out to? If you're awake for, 16 hours a day, 12 hours a day, we're talking a couple hours of just a little less thinking. Go for a run. Break it into 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Watch your creativity levels soar. Watch your inspiration soar. Watch your connection to everything increase. Watch your vibration go up. I'm not a big one to talk about vibrations, but the more you raise your vibration, the more you get to a place of openness, possibility, limitless stuff. Thinking itself is dealing with limits, judging, reacting, knowing. The type of knowing that I'm not going to argue with. Yeah, absolutely, you know stuff. But a lot of our knowing is rooted in blocking possibility, including about other people. And that's where I think the Scrooge parable or story is important. We know a lot of people out there could be complex or jerks or whatever you want to call it. Angels use the word complex. I love that. What a great word. But if someone's complex, wish them well. They're just on their path like everybody else. Yes, they're causing harm. But if anybody thinks that they're not causing harm with 80% of their thinking each day, and that cumulative effect, if we looked at 5 years of thinking for one human being, and then we went across the board and took 5 billion people and looked at that amount of negativity, even though it's more like an alarm clock by your bed, you getting exposed to that electromagnetic stuff. An alarm clock itself is not a dishwasher. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of energy that's not good to have by your head when you sleep at night. But because you sleep next to it for 10 years, it's like a nuclear bomb for the whole electromagnetic field thing. So what I'm trying to say is that the negative thinking, the judging that we engage in, consciously or unconsciously, you're still responsible for it. Or I should say, instead of responsible for it, there's still consequences. Everything is energy, and where you put your focus is how you're exposing yourself to harm or love. So all that thinking is what you could control if you could see a bigger picture here. Just easing up on that accelerator a little less judging, a little more appreciation of what already is, how wonderful the world is. By putting your focus there, you shift gears energetically. Your vibration is raised. There's always lessons in life. Everyone's in a stage somewhere, and there's wonderful angels helping you. A lot of times they're not tapped. They're waiting around. A life stage can sometimes last 20 years, 30 years. Not all of us are running around trying to figure out what lessons are before us. We sort of feel like life just happens to us. So back to the service that I offer. I help people get unstuck. I help people get direct answers. I don't see your answers. You do the listening. It's like having 25 of your favorite uncles and aunts, or ones that you've never met, available, who are in a wise, unconditional love position, a position beyond the limits of human thinking, which are really limiting. And they're just here to help. If you've got the guts to ask, you deserve your answers. And I think there's been 30, 40, 50, 60,000 questions by now. So every question under the sun, a lot of humor. The 3 Native American chiefs, Tolle, Red Shirt, Geronimo, they are fantastic, much more earthbound. They're unconditional love spirits. You feel them. And they're here to help. They're really good at getting you from point A to point B. It could be for career, for what to put on the menu next if you run a restaurant, for creativity, for which dog to get next, for what your son needs to hear from you, for how to have more fun family time, for where to go on vacation. I still think that's the number one question post-pandemic. How about that? For every other person, how to pay for that vacation, how to help start a business. What is your unique life path? What makes you happy? If you don't know what question to ask them. Hey, what question should I ask angels? And get 10 questions written down. They're happy to help you daytime, nighttime, without pen and paper, without photos. You can see Tolle directly, Native American garb. Talk to them that way. You can sit down with them and have a Native American ceremony. I stay out of it. I help tee it up a little bit. I make the suggestion. Close your eyes. Some stuff happens, and then they take over, and you're off and running to the races. Somebody just had a Native American ceremony, and she got to smoke a peace pipe with them. I think there was some dancing in a second one later. So it's the actual Native American chiefs, Tolle, Red Shirt, Geronimo. They've been with me since my dad died in 1970 when I was 2. A neighbor brought some hand-drawn photographs for protection over to my mom. It's a long story. Those pictures have been over my bed. It took me 6 months to realize they were the real Native American chiefs. Everybody else who was talking to them got it. I'm a little slow to the take, but it's the real Tolle, Red Shirt, Geronimo. Crazy Horse kept dropping by a couple houses ago in Austin, Texas. Kept dropping by in the backyard to see what was up, and he finally joined the crew. You can meet, sit, and talk with him. A little more reserved, but when he speaks, it carries a lot of weight. Black Elk is part of the crew. White Buffalo, Calf, Woman. I would describe her as almost Mary-ish, but on the Native American side, very earthbound, beautiful, big. Angels are incredible. They come in all shapes, sizes, colors. You can see with your eyes open, eyes closed. You can see with your eyes closed, and a lot of people prefer to do that way. I try to help push all your boundaries out. We have more boundaries than we realize. As soon as you get out of your thinking and you're in your heart, everything's possible. You can smell any ocean in the world. Let an angel bring you the Indian Ocean, Tahiti, Fiji. You've got your favorite ocean in Delaware, Rehoboth. You've got your favorite ocean in Hawaii. You've never been to Hawaii. You want to smell Hawaii. There's an Auntie Margaret, a kahuna type, little petite woman who is love on a Hawaiian breeze. She's part of the crew. Seth, Jane Roberts from the 1970s, 80s. She helped kick off, I think, a lot of the written spirituality books. You know, you still find her stuff at the used bookstores. You can meet Seth. I describe him as more of a light being. Again, beyond grasping, beyond human thinking. Chogyam Trungpa, Tibetan Buddhist monk. You can meet him, the actual Chogyam Trungpa. I had 2 students who studied under him in real life while he was alive before 1987 who have done the service, and they met him just fine. And it's actually him. I had one person who's met him, didn't study under him. He's from India, and he also met him, and so on. Same thing with Mother Teresa when he was a kid. He met Mother Teresa just recently as well. And I know there's some stuff in the press about Mother Teresa. I'm sure you could say that about half the figures out there or more. Jesus is big business for a lot of folks for good reasons, for bad reasons. I describe Jesus when you see him as a Swede, white shirt, jeans, very relaxed, no Swedish accent. Just super easy going. Same thing with Buddha. It can seem like a big deal, but these folks are just here to help. A fairy is just as good for answering a question, an astrophysicist question for a scientist, as an angel. These are all figures who have made themselves more available these days. I don't know how else to explain it. Yes, I had a lot of stuff happening around 2011, 12, somewhere in there. A lot of little details. I started seeing, hearing, stuff like that. I tried to play the whole 1920s, 30s psychic for a little while. But I'm a big believer in not telling people stuff. Anyone who's got a beating heart is fully capable of seeing their energy on their fingers, seeing an aura on a dog, hearing a dog. They're like little third graders. They're beautiful. They're very straightforward. They're fully capable of letting go and tapping their already existing intuitive skill set. So I help a person expand intuitively, tap what they've already got. You've already been experiencing either this on the business front, the creative front, artistically, singing, the athletic front. I help you expand it from one set of experiences to more experiences. If you want to think about it this way, we think when we're thinking that moments are different. And of course they are. You can't tell me that when I'm eating hot curry, it's somehow the same as going to the dentist's office. But at the same time, all moments are the same. There's no time. There's not as much space as we think. I could be blowing white sage out of my oyster shell or mother of pearl shell that's up there, whatever that's called, with the feather, and you can smell it through the screen. You can see angels around me right now. Why don't we take a quick pause for anybody who's watching this in the future, who's playing this back, or anyone who's watching live right now. Take a moment, full stop. Take a breath. Let go. But even faster than that, give yourself permission to let go. It's really important you have an inner dialogue and you learn that you kind of have different parts of you. You have your thinking side. It's not going to go away. But ask it just to take a couple steps back. Give your heart some room for maneuver. Go ahead and give yourself permission to let go. Go ahead and take a deep breath. There are tons of Buddhist monks in Thailand, Vietnam, and elsewhere that are still striving for the perfect breath. You breathe every single moment of every single day of your life. And yet, we don't spend much time focused on our breath at all. It's almost like that Navy SEAL quote that to go, something about slow, smooth, and fast. So you have to go slow to be smooth, and when you're smooth, you can go fast. And I like to tell runners that to go run fast, you have to go slow. And that slow is about slowing down up here. Less thinking, less triple judging, less analytics, less being in the mind. The more you can slow everything down, get unstuck from what you know and how you think things are, the more you can drop to a place that lets the universe and angels and Native American chiefs and fairies and everybody else do their job. You have a huge cheerleading squad, if I can be permitted to say that, and they are ready to help you. Passed over loved ones. You have no privacy, and don't worry about that. You're not getting judged. But ask for the help that you need. When you speak, if you need to speak out loud and over-accentuate it a little, trust that you're being heard. If you want to do it silently, it's fine. Yeah, if you get a reply back, there's going to be a little period of time where you think you're crazy because you're having a two-way conversation. But if pen and paper is easier for you, set up that pad of paper, sit down, talk to some photos, talk to some family photos, write your answers down. Learn to relax and not care. Don't judge it. You're going to get your answers. If you ask for a hug, you're going to feel some energy. There's people who get very quickly, in a short period of time with me, they get very good at feeling an actual hug. A feather brush their face, a hand on the shoulder, a wind in the room. The air conditioning's not on. There's no fan. The windows are closed. There's a million ways to get a hug. And there's a million ways to see, too. So this is a bit of a leap of faith. It's a bit of a mini miracle in every moment. But it's been happening a long time now. I've got some beautiful testimonials. If you go to michaelandreford.com, or you go to amazon.com/author/angels, you can find an array of books. There's a Listening to Angels book for $4.99. There's a Flowers book for $4.99. If you just want to do some supporting of a creative artist who's helping people as much as he can, as much as he can offer, you can buy the Flowers book. I published that a while ago. There's The Wisdom of Dull Knife, Red Shirt, and Geronimo book. I think that's one of my more expensive ones. $34.99 or $39.99. It is filled with questions and answers. People did listening to the three chiefs, and they donated their answers back so I could put them all together and publish them. A lot of that advice, while it applies to a person's unique life path, applies to us all. There's such wonderful answers from them. And here's one from the chiefs that is still one of my favorite after 6, 7, 8 years of doing this. Feel what you feel, but do not judge. Not bad. So those guys are real Native American chiefs. It can be a lot to accept for people stuck in thinking. For a lot of other folks, and this is something that I've been very shocked about, I've been very welcomed and made to feel like, hey, let's just do it, like appreciated, I guess. I'm shocked at how many people are just ready to roll. And I think that's the important thing. I'm the type of expert, yes, it takes some energy from me. I do some humor. I help you let go of what you know. There's serious situations out there or certain ways you just think it is. I help you slow down enough to get to your heart. And then I help give you the tools that will be with you forevermore. You can always get answers to any questions anytime you want. And you're going to find that that's extremely helpful because we're all Americans here, or at least humans that do a lot of thinking. We want our details. We want our answers for career, business, family, health. What do we do? Steps to take. But at the end of the day, I think the bigger thing here is recognizing that it's really how we roll. Where are we putting ourselves? Are we putting ourselves in our authentic, loving power in our heart? Or are we spending our time thinking, complaining about how the world is, that it needs to be fixed? I would argue and I'm quoting an angel here named, I think it was Mac or Fiona or Carol. Someone said, it's not up to humans to fix anything. Your job when you come in this world is to live your life and to live it the best you can. I'm not saying if your unique life path is to be part of Greenpeace and go do the Greenpeace thing, fantastic. WWF, save pandas, do it. But what people are failing to recognize, and this is how it's always been, and this is what he talks about, the insanity of humanity and everything else, is the little bit of thinking that we do every day, 80% of our day. It is tons of negativity at the 1%, 2% level. We don't mean to. We gossip, we complain, we do this, we do that. We resist. We resist what already is. It's insanity. It's crazy. I love Eckhart Tolle has one really practical thing in there. It's a little bit like Byron Katie. Fantastic with her, the work. She helps take a crowbar and pry open your thinking. You're absolutely like, my neighbor's a jerk, my ex-husband's a jerk, my ex-wife is a jerk, such and such, this is the situation. She takes the crowbar in there, gets a little light into the situation, wiggles it open, and gets you to say, well, maybe that's not quite the case. She lets the concept of possibility come in so that within an hour, 2 weeks, a month, if you're a tough person, stubborn, that finally you're like, okay, it's my labeling that's worse than whatever I think that situation is. Because you're creating energy, it's how you're flowing that comes right back on you. It's the whole golden rule, be kind to everyone. And I love Plato, be kind to everyone for they're fighting battles harder than you. There's a quote like that. Everyone you meet is doing their own thinking. It's why a simple wave to a complete stranger, a smile, an eyebrow up, even telling a dad joke to a stranger can make their day. You have no idea what impact that could have. It's treading a gentle, compassionate bodhisattva path. I think that's where it can go underappreciated. It's the mindful consciousness, awareness thing. It's what, again, a lot of other authors, a lot of other books talk about. So how am I different than other experts and authors and so on? There's I got a ton of books behind me that are woo-woo-woo, Korean, Zen, Wayne Dyer, Tyler Henry, love him. Don Miguel Ruiz, love him. Absolutely, The Four Agreements, grab that book. But they're all using words to talk to you, and they might be giving you practices, mindfulness practices, exercise, and so on. Where this is different is I help you go beyond the existing literature, the existing stuff. They do a fantastic job. They're wonderful. But I help you go within to tap what's always been there, to meet angels, to meet beings beyond grasp, beyond comprehension. This is so hard for the wellness, spirituality communities out there. It's hard for certain figures to even hear. If I say what I do, there's times, not very often these days, there's times where it just, they can't even hear what you're suggesting. You actually get to meet angels who are ready to help. They already know the answers before you could finish your question. They do it gently. They do it with humor. You get detail, unlimited detail. You need help. You have to be willing to ask. No one wants to tell you how it is. This is fun to do. So I think the record's 49 pages of answers by an Australian. I think it took 8 or 9 hours. I checked in every hour and a half. This is direct. You don't have to use pen and paper. We're back to the structure thing. I am one of those people who likes to teach it every which way so that you wipe out all the structure. So you can't get set or fixated or fixed or forevermore stuck again. Ego just wants to hijack everything. The greatest ritual in the world, the greatest exercise in the world, still at the end of the day probably gets hijacked by ego. So keep changing things up. It doesn't mean don't do the ritual or exercise, but the more you can let go, the less you know, the further you flow, the more you go. Just to make it rhyming. So angels are here to help. You've got a guardian angel. You got a life stage angel. Ton of angels you can meet. I help. My big thing that I do is I help you meet your own cheerleading squad. I don't get to do that as much with 150 figures at the front end. You tend to meet those first. You tend to be so focused on your answers that there's a little less time spent on meeting your own cheerleading squad. As for relatives, yeah, you can meet your relatives. I mean, that's a huge concept that I'm much more comfortable with now today than I was like 2 years ago. But if you can own meeting angels, get the hugs, and angels are saying it's totally cool, and your relatives are saying it's totally cool, and you can see two angels standing across the street by a tree. It's Archangel Michael and it's an angel named Joy, and there's a little space between them that relative could show up. That's what happens. You see your passed over dad. You can have a chat with them, get a hug from afar. Everything's energy, tons of energy exercises. You can see angels around me right now. Take a deep breath. Ask for a hug from the universe. Ask universe and angels to just throw you some beautiful energy and compassion. For the intuitive long-term veterans, they can expand their skill sets. They think that they can only see with their eyes closed. They know what 6 other intuitives do across the USA, but they think they can't do it. They just never tried. They weren't interested. They can absolutely do just about anything. Angels make it possible. They have to be willing to let go of the role or the labeling that they don't do it and just give it a go. It would be like you never eat sushi, but then you're willing to try to eat sushi. It'll be good sushi. So you just need to trust that any amount of getting unstuck is possible, any amount of guidance, direction, having your unique life path outlined a little bit more, being given concrete steps to take, who to call, what to do, what to let go of, what to start doing, what to stop doing. Get compliments too, how amazing you are, what to keep doing, what are you doing right. It's a lot of fun. I see a golden lamp right here, Disney. That lamp reminds me of a djinn, an elemental if you want, but I like the word djinn. You don't learn his name, but he's like a little Zen master. He's a walking encyclopedia of love, compassion, and wisdom. He's been around. He represents East Asian mysticism. Petite fellow, 4'1", long braided hair down to his waist. Will twirl the tip of his hair around his waist as he talks. You can ask him any question, get any answer, and that's why these figures are so diverse, spanning Buddhism, the whole Christianity, Catholic thing. You can meet Mary, fantastic. Angels. What else? Hindu figures, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Rama, Lakshmi, Sri Kaleshwar, who studied, under sort of Sai Baba that way, who connected to angels. He's just love, kept it really simple. I think he passed away when he was 42. These are all wonderful figures that are here to help and work with you how you perceive reality. But then they also help you let go long enough to do true listening, true change, true shifting of your energy so that if you really want change, you can bring it in. Just sitting around and saying my problem isn't going to get it done. And we all do that. I'm not knocking the concept of saying my problem is, but very few people realize that when they speak, they're putting their energy and putting their energy into concrete in a way that's not helpful. It's negativity, even though it's a minor amount of activity. When you walk around and say, my problem is, that's not bringing in the type of change that you and I would all want for everyone else. That is reinforcing a small amount of negativity. When you say, this is my opportunity for growth, you just got laid off, 25 years at the same company, we all react that way. It's the reaction, though, that is not helpful. We call people. We say, I can't believe it. They laid me off. My problem is I don't have a job. Everything is your instruction. I'm going back to, I think, Pema Chodron. Everything is your instruction. Everything is your opportunity. Every single moment is where you find your authentic power. It's where compassion happens. It's where action happens. Wisdom. Being kind to yourself. Empowering yourself. It's that inner learning that eventually you'll get done. You'll get it done on your deathbed. At the last second, you'll recognize Rosebud, Orson Welles, Citizen Kane. It's letting go is the most important, powerful thing you can do. Letting go of what? Yeah, details, what other people are doing. How about that? Why put your focus on other people? You can only get more upset, generally speaking, unless you're admiring Thich Nhat Hanh, Mother Teresa, name Jack Cornfield, somebody. So letting go is the most important thing you can do. It sets the table for higher vibration. How about that? More peace, more happiness, more appreciating what already is around you, immediately around you. You can run around lecturing how it should be in the world, but your greatest opportunity for growth is within. Angels are fantastic for helping you feel that out, for recognizing the difference when you're thinking, when you're in your heart. They're great for working with you on any project, career stuff, what your unique life path actually is. If you're younger and you haven't figured it out yet, get that guidance. What did you come in to do in this lifetime? Who to go contact? There's no layer of detail you can't get. So have fun with it all. Take a chance. Go get that Listening to Angels book. It's $4.99 at Amazon. It's flirted in the top 100 list now 3 or 4 or 5 times. It takes 4 or 5 purchases of the book to drive it into the top category there, and I think angels and spirit guides or something like that. It's a super short book, super easy. It's a 1-page forward, and I'm talking an electronic page, so it's 30 seconds to read the forward. I think the intro is a page and a half. It's 4.5 pages, sort of a setup of how to listen to angels. You get photographs of 7 angels: Joy, Heather, Penelope, Dale, some others, including Archangel Michael. And they're the ones who provided the photograph. They're the ones who are telling you how to do it. You have to own being in the moment and letting go. You put pen tip to paper, leave your mouth a little bit open, make your request to make it easy. Get out of your own way. I think that's probably the biggest theme today. Get out of your own way. People get stuck in ruts for a while. They wonder why they're not happy. They wonder why stuff's not flowing, why they're not having more peace, harmony, good health, good sleep at night, laughter and fun for no reason at all. That spontaneity, everything, it's just a huge amount of thinking that goes on, a huge amount of judging, structure, reaction, and so on. It's perfectly fine to have huge lists, to-do lists, but it's important to recognize that most of the great stuff that happens in your life happens when you're here. And when you're on a roll, you don't really notice that you are here. You're one with your business. You're one with all the phone calls you're making. You're one with the soccer ball in the field, and you got 7 soccer goals in a row. You're Pele. That's the mastering of the moment. Master the moment, and you can master pretty much anything. It's when all of life tends to unlock for you. It's that career experience you had. You're a great advertiser. You're a great graphic designer. You're a great painter. There's just a point where you let go and you allow yourself to knock the ball out of the park. So angels exist. This is something entirely new, something that publishing houses aren't used to, the Esalen, the Omega, even though senior staff have done it. I had the booker from Omega Institute, the one who booked Deepak Chopra for the place while she was there. I had her do this, but that doesn't translate necessarily to getting a program or having a show or having a class or a course. It's a lot. Very few people who go through this experience of meeting angels can ever take a deep enough breath to be like, wow, what a miracle. I should let 25 of my colleagues down the hallway know about this. They should do it too. Instead, ego wants to come flooding back in and slap an explanation on it, or people need to process the experience. A couple weeks, couple of years. It needs to be knocked down a couple pegs so that it could be understood, controlled, categorized. The last thing ego wants to have is a repetition of full openness, a full experience of what I would call, again, a mini miracle of unbelievable proportions. But angels do a lot. You get hugs, you get answers, you get to see relatives, you can see passed over pets. It's a lot of fun. You can get worked on a little bit. Those hugs can become healing. Not something I want to put a ton of emphasis on, but if you ask, if you can allow, be here, you can ask and you can learn to receive, why not? And this goes back to another thing that I say all the time, which is if there are no limits in life, if there are really no limits in life, maybe there are really no limits. So ask, allow, ask, and receive, and make those hugs healing and see what happens. I've had 3 people who were colorblind over time here, like the last 8 years, and they've seen color. That's for them to experience, and I'll leave it at that. There are no limits with angels. Ask, receive, get your answers, get your hugs. It's super simple. Pretty soon you can learn just to go on a walk with your favorite 2 angels or a bunch of figures and have a 2-way. Go commune in nature. Go sit under a tree. You're playing golf. You're on the 9th hole. You don't know if it's the number 3 club or the number 5. Ask Geronimo. No question is too big or too small. Again, I think it takes guts to even put yourself out there to be able to ask, to listen, and be sure you get those hugs. So I think that's it for now. Let me see if I can think of something else real fast. There are a couple programs now at michaelandreford.com. There's a 3-month program, a 6-month program. You can sign up for 3 months. That's 3 times a month, 3 hours each. That's 9 hours a month for 27 hours total spread out over 3 months. You can take that time where you keep showing back up over an extended period of time. And yes, you're technically spending it with me, but you're really spending it with angels. Mother Teresa, Sai Baba, Plato, Chogyam Trungpa, Buddha, Jesus. You can do meditative exercises where you're sitting with all of them with your eyes shut. You're in the Middle East at a desert oasis. You're at a Buddhist temple. You're in India sitting under a tree cross-legged with Sai Baba. He touches you on the forehead. A lot of stuff happens. You can go surfing anywhere in the world. You can smell any ocean in the world. But by showing back up, you're forcing yourself to stay the course and to help yourself or help angels help you open up more. You're fully capable of experiencing more compassion, more love, first for yourself, then for others, for experiencing more in life, for letting go of where you think you're putting your limits, and for doing a lot more, action, experiencing, living more. How about that? Maybe this isn't for everyone. Maybe it is. I think anyone can do this. Absolutely anyone can do this. I think sometimes you need to be in a pickle. You need to be in a divorce, a health crisis. You just lost your job. You're desperate somehow. That's when we feel our backs up against the wall, but that's also when some of the greatest change happens in life. So that 3-month program is, again, 3 individual 3-hour sessions, and time flies. And I like to sneak in a little bit extra time to make sure you're having fun, no matter how big or small the session is. The small sessions are 90 minutes for $250. But those 3 hours fly. It's 3 times 3 for 3 months. So that's 27 hours. I think the price on that's $4,500. It's a 10% less or so if you pay in full in advance. A 12-month or a 6-month setup with me is 3 times a month again, but it's 3 4-hour sessions. So it's 12 hours a month, 6 months, 72 hours total. And you'll see those prices on my website. PM me directly or get in touch. This is something where really angels, Native American chiefs, Mother Teresa, Sai Baba, Mary, your guardian angel, they're doing the true guiding, and you're the part of you that can block or limit is getting out of the way, and the part of you that's ready for more living, more love, more compassion, more expansion of your skill sets, more expansion of your life force. If it's Scrooge and it's dental floss, picture the person who's wide open, who's fun, who fills the room with presents that you would want to have at your dinner party every time. They're just pure joy, sparkle, grace, ease, fun. Probably talking about Audrey Hepburn here. You can meet her. Her photograph moves. Shoulder shrug, hands move, a wink, a smile. It's her. There's an angel named Grace, so I won't say she's 100% Grace, but she's close. Grace and her are 2 peas of the same pod. What a treat to meet her. And again, you have no privacy. You get any help that you need. You know, a lot of us are just trying to get from paycheck to paycheck or pay the bills, or they've got kids and they're not sure they're doing the right job on parenting. You can get all the help in the world for parenting. I mean, you can spot check for parenting. You're on a playground. You're not sure about this or that. You're not sure what to do next. It could be really small. It could be something nothing to do with the tough stuff in life. Where to go for a cup of coffee. Just ask. There's no question that's too big or small. Trust me, you can't go overboard in adopting this. The brain, the thinking, the ego, it would never let you ask 50 questions a day of angels. You're going to do human thinking, and it's okay. The trick or the cool opportunity here is recognizing, though, how amazing it is to be here. You know all those joyful moments. You know all those creative moments. You know all those business moments where you just hit the bullseye. That's what I'm talking about. A little sizzle, a little fun. When life is at its most flavorful. That's what you can bring more of in. So again, business people, get your business model answered by the best McKinsey and Company consultants you could ever have. A Tibetan Buddhist monk, Mary, 16 angels, have them give you 100 answers for your business steps to take. No limits means no limits. You have to have the guts to allow for this. It's what every single one of the Hay House, Simon & Schuster, Sounds True, New World Library authors are trying to say. They may be saying it in Buddhist terms. They may be saying it in meditation terms, nutrition terms. They're all trying to help you find your center to be the best you can be. But the real experts here are these invisible and not invisible. You can see them full on. Experts that you know from religious circles or organizations, and yet there's no organization here. It's just compassion, just unconditional love. Experts you know from philosophical bents like Plato, Seneca, and I think that's important. There are no organizational ties here. This is strictly between you and them. Get the help that you need. You don't need to convert to some direction or anything like that. The Indian figures are fantastic, whether we're talking Native American or we're talking from the country of India. They're all here just to help. It's helping you raise your vibe, follow your unique life path, and so on. It's exciting. So it's life changing. Take a look at the 50 plus testimonials I have. Bruce Cryer, Dawa Tarchin Phillips, Jonathan Ellerby, spiritual director at the Althea Center in Denver, but ex-Canyon Ranch spiritual director, I think for 4 years or so. He's fantastic to interact with. What a supporter. Thank you very much again, Jonathan. This is an act of compassion you do for yourself by letting go, allowing help to come in. You feel yourself expand, and hopefully with that, everything you touch is a lot more fun. Okay, folks, that's it for this Facebook live stream. It's Michael Andre Ford in San Antonio, Texas. Find me on michaelandreford.com. I've got some independent classes you can take. I think they're $49.99 each. They're under 30 minutes each. You can meet in the first class. Do that one first. You meet Joy, an angel who's the emotion Joy. She's the ambassador, communicator who holds the space for you, makes this easy, helps you let go of the doubt, and I'm going to be with you all the way. If you're skeptical, you're like, there's no way this is possible. Obviously, you're probably not going to do it then. But if you're on the fence, she's the one that helps you stay in your heart, trust that this is good enough, long enough to get your answers. Keep your eyes on a photo, ask a question, listen. For the first second that you do it, you think it's your own voice. What do you think half your intuition's been? It's been the positive intuition over time. Chance. It's your cheerleading squad, whether it's your grandfather who's passed over, or your archangel helping you, or your guardian angel, or your business manager angel, or your muse who helped you write your first book. You're getting a lot more invisible love and support than you can realize. So get your answers, you get your hugs. The seeing part, that's usually you have to grab me. It's a lot for folks. It's the more distance you put, a couple soccer fields away, the easier it is. If you're expecting to see 10 feet away, you're going to have to be a really loosey-goosey personality. Maybe you've gone through 5 car wrecks, a couple near-death experiences, you bridge, you bungee cord, you jump, you balloon all the time, you parachute out of an airplane, you have no fear. You're the type that seizes the bull by the horns, literally, and doesn't think anything of it. If you've got that attitude, yes, you can see full-on right there. With or without wings for angels. They can help you feel more comfortable. You can get tips from them directly on not what you're doing wrong, but how to open up more, feel more comfortable. Their humor alone will set you at peace here. And again, this is something where, yes, I do something special for you. I help you get from here into your heart. I realize that there's a lot more possibility. Check out those testimonials, 50 plus of them at michaelandreford.com. But angels help set you at ease. You can feel compassion come into a room. You can feel your stress, the weight of your thinking, the weight of what you think your situation is, lifted off of you. I get a lot of people in tears, not because I made them cry, but because the situation was such that angels came in and lifted the heavy burden of thinking. Hold on, I'm having video issues here. If we get cut off, I'll sign off now. If it comes back, we're still good. All right, folks. I've lost the video at this point. I am going to sign off now, and this was my second Facebook live stream. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of August. Be safe, have fun, and be sure to visit www.michaelandreford.com. If you want, visit my Facebook business page and like that. Looking for support here. I hope you have fun. I hope this was helpful somehow. And definitely grab that Listening to Angels book, $4.99 at Amazon. And meet some angels. You can do it on your own. Give yourself a break. Don't judge it. Just have fun. Get the pen tip to paper. Ask, listen, receive your answers. This is Michael Andre Ford, San Antonio, signing off.